Okay, we're about to change the oil in a 2004 Malibu V6, but I'll tell you what, you really don't need to know any of this because there's only two ways to change oil. There is a regular oil filter, which is what this car takes, and it's got the hard shell. That's hard. And then there's another type of filter which this car does not take, which is just the actual filter itself. Those cars are very easy as well, but today we're dealing with cars that take the regular filter. Here's all the tools you need. In reality, I'm only going to need one wrench. There's only one bolt that I have to loosen. These come in handy. They're not 100% necessary, but this is to remove the old filter. You got to have your funnel that you're going to pour your oil into there. Nothing about Quaker State. They were the cheapest that they had. And to be trendy, you got to have a Diet Pepsi, which is now aspartame free. Anyway, you also want to have an oil pan to catch the oil. And we are about to get started. First thing I want to do is remove the oil cap, which is right up here. Now on the oil cap, you'll see it tells you exactly what type of oil your car takes. Most cars will have this. If not, the auto parts store will easily be able to tell you what type of oil to buy. See, it says 5W30. Well, I went out and I bought 5W30 oil. Matches up. 5 quarts is what most cars take. Again, you can check to see how many quarts your car takes, but 99% of the cars out there are going to take 5 quarts. Stick this in here for when we add the oil. So now it's time to go under the car. To find out where to drain the oil, all you do is, this is your oil pan. I'll try to get down as much as I can. Oil filter could be located anywhere under the car. Sometimes you have to get to them from up front. This is your oil pan up front, and this is your drain plug right here. So I got to find a socket that fits that. Let's try a 13 millimeter. Everything's metric these days. Yep, 13 millimeter. The next thing I need to do is pull this under to catch the oil that's going to be released. I'm looking through my screen. We're going to put the wrench on here and loosen it. Shouldn't take much. Now it's loose. The rest is finger tightening. Now it should be done while pushing in, because if I'm pushing in while I'm unscrewing this, none of the oil is going to come out and drip all over my hands. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But I am pushing in on the plug forward, like I'm trying to force it in, but I'm unscrewing it. Not to mention the oil's hot. I don't want to burn myself. However, hot oil is thinner, so it'll drain quicker this way. And I like to get that. Here it starts to come and pull. Look at that. The oil will drain into this container here, and then we'll put it from the container back into the jug and take it and have it recycled. Okay, you see this coming down here? When you get down to like this little bit, you can go ahead and cap it back up. So we're going to take this single bolt and screw it back in. Your hands will get a little oily on this, but that's fine. If you do it right, you won't have tons of oil all over you. And now, you really don't, this is so hard to do looking through my camera screen instead of actually looking at it. You don't really tighten it that tight. See, I'm just putting a little bit of pressure like that. That's tight enough. If you strip this bolt, you're in a heap of trouble. So pretend like you're a 90-year-old man with arthritis when you tighten this bolt. And it will not leak. There is a torque specification. I don't remember what it is. It's not that important. They just don't want you to strip this bolt. Next is an even messier part, and that is getting this filter off. And this, see, I bought the better filter, so I was able to get a grip. I don't even need to use that wrench I showed you at the beginning of the video. And I know that all I gotta do is loosen this up. Here comes the oil all over my hands. Luckily it's not too hot. Oh, it's dripping down my wrist. Look at that freaking mess. Letting it go in the pan and just keep twisting until it comes off. Flip it upside down and rest it here. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to wait for all this oil to drain out, which will happen a lot quicker than it did for back here. We're done back there. We have no reason to go back. And this only takes a moment. Let me get a paper towel to clean my hands off, and I'll be right back. And now we're going to go back under the car, take out the brand new oil filter. And one other thing that's really smart that you want to do, on your old oil filter, check to make sure this ring, which I know is really hard to see, see if I can take it off. Sometimes it becomes detached and it'll stick up here, and you do not want two rubber rings on there with the gasket. So anyway, I can't get it off, but as you can see here, this black is rubber, and sometimes that'll stick up here, and if you have two of them up there, you're going to have problems. So I'm just rubbing my finger, making sure it's nice and clean and clear. And then to make sure we get a good seal, sorry guys, again, doing this with one hand and filming. That's how easy it is to change your oil though. You take some of this dirty old oil, make sure there's no grit or anything in it, and you just rub it on the seal, because then it'll seal better. Really hard to do with one hand, but again, that's how easy it is. I'm doing a one-handed oil change so I could show you how to do it. So now we got the oil on there. You can see it's kind of shiny. That tells you that it's there, and you simply line up the hole of the oil filter to where it turns and spin it up. See? And all you do is hand tighten it. Wiping down this filter because my hands were kind of greasy. And then once again, I'm just gonna make sure it's hand tightened. Nothing more. So we are now officially done underneath the car. The only step left is adding oil. Let's go up top. Ugh, getting old. Okay, so now that we have the oil filter and the oil plug back in place, there's no oil in the engine, which I don't expect you to be able to see in there anyway. And that's where this big guy comes in. Perfect amount. What is it? 5 quarts. Shows right there. I like getting the big ones. And we just dump the oil right in there until it hits the top, practically. You don't want it spilling. There we go. Now we're going to recycle this container. The old oil that we took out of the car, we're going to put back in here so we could take back to the auto parts store and give it to them for recycling. So don't throw this away. Another thing, while we're waiting for this to go down, probably should have checked before, but I'm pretty confident in my skills. Just look underneath the car for some leaks. Check where the oil pan drain is, which we took out. No leaks there. And check where your oil filter is. Nothing's dripping out. Now we're going to check these two areas again with the car running because it'll be under more pressure. But so far, so good. And it looks like it's empty. Great. What we're going to do is drag out this oil pan. And we're going to stick this in it, not to make a mess. Take the oil cap, screw it back on, and as far as work goes, we are done. Start the car and get off the ramps. It's very important that we get off the ramps because we're not going to have an accurate level while we're up on the ramps. The car needs to be on a flat surface of your driveway. Now let's get down under the car. You see any oil dripping? Neither do I. We would see it right about there where the oil plug is, and right here is our oil filter. Nothing's dripping. So we did a proper oil change. Now we want to shut the car off so we can get an accurate reading and checking the dipstick. We'll pull out the dipstick again, which will have the wrong measurement because the car was running with the oil in it. Clean it off. Make sure there's no oil on it. And guide it back into its home. Pushing it all the way down and pull it out again. And this car takes 5 quarts, so we should be filled right up to about that line. And we are. Now the oil is wet all the way up to this point, so we have the perfect amount of oil in this car. Make sure all tools, paper towels, anything you might have, Diet Coke, is removed. And now you just gave your car an oil change and you're good for another 3,000 miles. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you like this content, subscribe. I'm not really a Mr. Fix-It type guy. Well, I guess I kind of am, but not for YouTube. And give me a thumbs up. Thank you very much. And that is how you change the oil. Just remember, there are very simple steps to take. Number 1, unscrew the oil pan drain. 1 socket, 1 bolt. That's it. Make sure you got a oil catcher underneath, something to catch all that oil with. Let it drain. Put the plug back in. Find the oil filter. Unscrew the oil filter. Let all that drain out. Put the oil filter back in. Screw it back in. Hand tighten only. You're done under the car at that point. Number 3, fill your oil. Take your car off the ramps. Put it on level ground. Let the car run for 10-20 seconds. Let the oil flow. Turn the car off. Check the oil. Make sure it's full. That's it. There's nothing to it. It's so easy a caveman can do it.